What's up everyone, I am Tim Oates on bass, and today I'm going to review my pedal board. I'm going to unveil something I've been hiding for a little bit because I'm ashamed. It's my pedal board. Why am I ashamed? Let me show you. It looks terrible. I've been limping around with this thing for far too long. And while I love the pedals, it is time for a makeover. Here's what I got. So this is it. New pedal board. It's used, but it's a great board. Gives me lots more space. In fact, new pedal board's moved over. Thanks for watching. Make sure to like, oh, I'm kidding. I got a lot more to do. I'm gonna be moving over all of my pedals to my new board. Got a couple of things, 12-inch patch cables and Velcro ties. Let's get at it. Look at this thing. This thing is all sorts of beat up. Okay, cleanup's done. It's all set for the Velcro, which is already on my pedals. But before I start laying them out, let me give you a quick overview. First in the signal chain is the Ernie Ball VP Junior. This is just a volume pedal, that's all. I use this live for a kill switch. That is going to feed into the Big Muff Pi by Electro Harmonic. I'm a big fan of this particular pedal for my distortion needs. After that, we feed the signal into my wah pedal, which is a Morley Mini Dragon 2. This is a guitar wah. The reason that I chose a guitar wah is I actually think it sounds way better than the bass wahs. There's not a lot of bass wahs out there. There's far more for guitar. And for what I need a wah for, which isn't much, I greatly prefer the Mini Dragon. And the last piece in the signal chain is the Bass Fly Rig by Tech21. I absolutely love this compact little guy. I'll give you a full demo here later, but this is gonna be the end of the signal chain. And what's great is I have the ability to send a quarter out, or it's got an XLR which will plug right into a board when you're playing live. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna lay out my pedals and see what the configuration that I'm looking for is. Now I'm gonna flip them upside down so that way the Velcro doesn't stick and I can just sort of lay them out. So I think this configuration is what I wanna go with. The Sans amp I always have on. I would never kill this during a live performance, so I can actually have that directly behind the distortion pedal here. Now that I've got my pedals laid out the way that I want them, it's time to start wiring stuff up. I think this is looking pretty good. Now, I know with all this Velcro, it's not the prettiest when you're zoomed in close. Keep in mind, this is gonna be on the ground. This is not something that I'm worried about looking good for the audience. I need this to be functional for me. You want things to be organized, you want things to be placed down, you wanna make sure cable management's in order, but it's not so it looks good. Looking good is fine, like if you can make it look good, great, but that shouldn't be your primary concern. Your primary concern should be, is it functional? Is it going to do the job you need it to do? And the job you need it to do is hold your pedals in place, make sure that they're always plugged up, ready to go, and you have easy access to all of your ports. Why don't we fire this up and see how all of these guys sound, and I'll give you an overview. First up, volume pedal. Next up is our distortion pedal. So for me, the way that I like to have it set up is I like to make sure that the volume is comparable. I don't want it to be overpowering. I want it to be a little bit louder, but not too much. So what I always do is I figure out my starting volume. So that's a little bit loud. I'm gonna bring that down a little bit. All right, so that sounds good to me. The tone is really going to dial in your actual amount of distortion. So you can hear when it's cranked up. A lot of fuzz, and then when it's all the way down, a little bit muddier. I kind of like it in the middle, a nice balance. And then the sustain, let's put it all the way down. Very little sustain, we crank it all the way up. All right, so that's kind of how I like it. I love this, this tone. Okay, next we have the wah pedal. This wow I always keep on, it kind of gives it a little bit more of a boost. So that's kind of more in the mid-range, and I think it sounds great. It's exactly what I would want in a wah. But you can actually adjust with this loudness knob here how much it goes up. So if we crank it, you'll get more wah-iness. So you can hear there, it's got more of that wah sound to it, like someone saying wah. If we put it all the way down, it kind of cuts in and out, you know, it's killing the volume. I usually like it, you know, kind of up here about like 6, 6.5, something like that. And then this wow, if we pull that off, just gives a little more kick. Now this notch side here, what this does is this kind of locks in where you are in the sweep of that mid-range. You'll notice it's kind of like it's stuck right about here. Right, but it's not actually moving, it's right in there. And when it's on, the actual pedal doesn't do anything. So that's one thing I always have to watch, is to make sure I don't engage that by accident. All right, so that's the wah pedal. Next up is the Tech21 Bass Fly Rig. Start with the middle with the Sans amp. The level is going to really dictate kind of what's coming out, these two outputs here. Highs, mids, lows. Character and drive, that's going to give it more of a tone. So you can hear the drive kind of gives it a little bit more grit. The character. So you can hear when these guys are cranked, start to get a little bit more of that overdrive. I don't particularly want that all the time. That's why I like pulling these back a little bit. So I get a little bit of color, but not too much. This is the compressor. The compressor, always have this on. The level of compression, I kind of keep it slightly past 50%. The tone I have pretty high up, and then the level I have a little bit more in the compression. Let's take it off and hear what it sounds like. All right, over here, this is the Octave Filter. I really don't use this much. I'll give you some examples. It's got a couple things in here. We've got an octave and a fuzz. We've got the mix and then the range. I don't really know what the Q is. I know that it affects the sound, but if we turn this on, so we've got nothing going on right now, so there's not too much that these are doing. But like, let's turn on the octaver. So that's kind of more of a traditional octaver. You throw the fuzz on. And then we're gonna peg all of these and you get some really interesting sounds. I think it's a really cool option to have in there. Personally, I don't prefer the fuzz sound. It all comes down to preference. I prefer this, but I think if you're in the market for an all-in-one unit, you can get some good fuzz options out of this Octave filter. It's really about what your preference is though. And then last we have the chorus. The chorus is very simple. There's only one knob. Pull that chorus down a little bit. What I use it for, on-stage tuner more than anything. Hold it down, start tuning up. There we have it. All right, so that's my pedal board. Successfully changed everything over, got some better cable management going on, walked you through my settings, what I use this thing for. Hopefully you got some ideas about better ways to set up your pedal board, things to think about, ways to cable manage, all of those important things. If you like this video, please give it a like. If you have any thoughts, please feel free to drop a comment. Let me know what's on your mind. And if you haven't already, subscribe to the channel, ring the little bell. That's how you know when I drop new videos just like this one. You keep making beautiful music, and I will see you in the next video.